this is a Hobbs switch. And theft lock light is on. Hey guys, it's Alec Agard coming to you with another YouTube video. We are in the shop working on the Turbo GMC, and today I'm going to show you how I will be triggering my second fuel pump, because this truck has two 450 liter per hour fuel pumps in the tank, and you don't necessarily need that for driving around if you're less than, say, 6 or 8 pounds. You only need one. We're going to be triggering that second pump today with this Hobbs switch. So we're going to be installing this, and I'm going to show you how this works. Alrighty, so this is a Hobbs switch that I ended up purchasing. There's multiple people that sell Hobbs switches. They're not really anything that's brand specific. They're probably all made in the same Chinese factory that we end up buying them from. So essentially what this switch does is you've got two terminals here, and it doesn't matter which one you use. What you're gonna do is right here, you can see this is my ground wire for my second fuel pump. And so we're gonna mount this to one of these, and then we're going to take this and we're going to bring it back to the battery to ground it. So what this switch does is that it'll be in my intercooler piping in this location over here on the bottom side. And this switch, when it sees a certain pressure that I end up setting up, then it closes. And then that fuel pump will kick on because you just close the circuit to ground. There is a cover right here on the top, and this cover comes off, and there's a adjuster in there for you to adjust the pressure. So you can pick these. It looks like this one says 4 PSI. So that's the lowest that it can go. I think because I haven't necessarily driven this vehicle yet to see what the fuel demand is, I would assume I'm probably gonna have to set this around 10 to 12 pounds PSI. So I'm eventually gonna have to set this up. At the very worst, set it lower, because if you have a return fuel system, you'll just end up sending extra fuel back to the tank, which isn't always a bad thing either. So
I will send it back.
We're gonna get this installed and wired up today. So this Hobbs switch can be adjusted from 4 PSI to 24 PSI. So what I did was I figured out there's about 10 full turns to bottom this thing out, and bottoming it out should be 4 PSI. So what I did was I backed it off about 5 complete turns and got it set up. So we're gonna start with 5 complete turns, start there. If we want it to engage more, we're probably gonna end up turning it in. So we will just have to figure out what that 5 turns ends up correlating to, and we're gonna have to tune this a little bit with the truck. Right now we have our fuel pump trigger approximately in the area that we want the Hobbs switch to be. I'm gonna try and get a camera angle of the underside of this pipe. So you can see right there that there is a bung on the bottom side of that pipe, and that's where our Hobbs switch is going to go into. We're doing a little bench prep over here. Of course, we got our thread sealant with PTFE. We're going to put that on the threads. And then we need to make some terminal ends with these small guys and have a little bit of extra wire left over for going back to the battery so we can ground this. So our bench or prep work is mostly complete. Here's the trigger for the fuel pump. The lead that goes to the fuel pump, and you can see that has a terminal on it and is heat shrinked. And then over here we got a little lead made so that this can go to the battery. So we are using auxiliary battery posts that are meant for having some accessories on them. So you can see that right there. There's a nut that goes on here. This is where we will land that larger terminal eyelet that is on this end right here. So we're going to get a little PTFE thread sealant thrown on this guy right here, and we're going to thread this in. We officially have our Hobbs switch installed. You can just barely see, and I'll get a better angle, but there she is down there with the little red heat shrink. Let me get you underneath the pipe here. So you can see there it is all installed. We got our 2 leads running off the side. So our fuel pump, of course, is in the tank of the truck. The ground wire comes up. We got it kind of running through where like the windshield wiper stuff goes, down through here, coming up underneath. You can see we got in some nice wire loom right there. Goes to the Hobbs switch when the Hobbs switch eventually closes at hopefully about 10, 12 PSI. Then grounds to the battery, and that fuel pump kicks on. All right, guys, we just flipped back around because we got the Hobbs switch done. So we are going to move on to tuning of the truck. I'm going to send a file over to Tyler. We're going to do a little data logging, and then he's going to send me a tune back, and we will get that flashed in, see how the truck runs. The other thing that I am going to do is I'm working on the interior just a little bit. So I'm going to throw the C-pillar plastics in and kind of finish up that portion of it. So you're going to see that next. I snapped in the C-pillar trim, so you can see we got trim back behind the seats on the inside now, same as on this side. So the inside's getting just a little bit more finished up. We're gonna do a little data log on the Turbo GMC to send to my Tyler tuner site, my tuner Tyler tuner Cypher, my tuner Tyler Cypher out of Dubuque, Iowa. He's the guy that's gonna tune this truck when I eventually load up on a trailer and take it to him when the roads are clear. So we're gonna check. One thing I want to make sure is that's an on-3 performance regulator, fuel pressure regulator, and gauge. And I just want to confirm that it is somewhat accurate. So we're going to use the most accurate thing money can buy, which is the Harbor Freight fuel pressure tester.
Stop it.
And we're just going to see if we got a little discrepancy between the two, or if they're kind of close. And I would say that they're both mostly accurate. This has been used before and shown accurate. All right, so we just bumped the key and we're slowly dropping over here, but I had Bailey confirm that we're reading about 60-ish when we bump the key. And I think our next step, I'm gonna get the old laptop fired up, fire this thing up, and drag her outside.
Now start!
All right, so we're in the truck right now. She is warm and it's finally idling on its own. So we're doing some data logs over here, saving them, and I'll end up sending these over to the tuner. Let's see this thing outside because it sounds good. That buff job looks real good.
Yeah, boy.
All right, so we're underneath the truck right now, and previously I have discussed that we have a little bit of an oil leak.
What?
And so you can see, got a little drip right there. And we got some on the floor underneath it, so it's not a huge leak, but it's enough that we want to take this cover off and get a look and see what's going on here. Jeez, first time in the shop or what?
I don't need that extension. No, that's too long.
That's what she said. All right, Bailey, what do we find underneath there?
Oil's coming from somewhere. It could be rear main, could be cam sensor, O-ring leaking.
Yeah, we're not exactly sure. So we pulled the flex plate cover off, and you can't get it off with the on-3 crossover, which is a whole problem in itself. Another good reason not to buy an on-3 hot side. We looked at the bolts for the flex plate and did not find anything like dripping from the bolts on the flex plate, and they look relatively dry. So
we need an inspection camera to rule out the cam sensor. Once we rule out the cam sensor,
Yep.
then we know the trans is coming out.
yeah, that's a good point. So we have some inspection cameras, just don't have them here. So I'm gonna have to grab one of those, and we'll use an inspection camera, because the cam sensor goes down and it's got an O-ring, and actually it's behind the bell housing where the O-ring goes into the cam. So that could be it, and it could be leaking onto the rear main seal to make it look like a rear main seal. If it was cam sensor, I would be delighted, because that just means the intake has to come off. But if not, that means Bailey and I are going to get real good at pulling transmissions. We are in the truck right now. Got the second tune flashing up on. We're at 22% right now. Goes pretty fast when you're using a desktop. So we'll get this guy flashed in here and see how she runs compared to some of the problems we were having before. All right, here we are going for a first start with revision 2 tune.
I said, come on.
The f. That's weird. And theft lock light is on. All right, 3 rounds of theft lock later. Hopefully this starts. Come on. What the fuck? I put more fuel in it and it doesn't start? What the fuck is going on? Jesus Christ.
Failure.
Alrighty, Bailey. What day video are we on right now? Recording.
12.
We're on like day 12. We went to the junkyard, which is also known as the old cab, in my backyard, and grabbed some of the pieces that we need to kind of keep finishing this thing. And freaking heater turned on. God dang it. All right, so I'm over here at the bench with, this is the BCM out of the other truck, which the other truck didn't have power windows or anything like that, which is not the end of the world. We will eventually swap this over if we can, and I'm gonna throw the key from the other truck that matches this BCM in. Bailey and I did a little work on the inside. We got the BCM from the original truck and the key from the original truck in, and now we're doing the theft lock relearn again, which sucks. I was hoping that the key and the BCM matching the ECM would make it so that it's not in theft lock, but it is. I think there's something to do with the pass lock where the key and the ignition cylinder actually go into. So it is what it is. We're trying to do the relearn right now. So every 10 minutes you turn the key forward.
It's stolen.
Once the theft lock symbol goes away, then you pull a key out, put it back in, turn it forward, and after 2 or 3 of those, it should go away on you. Last thing, Bailey, the Savage over here, got blower motor working. So threw the blower motor from the other truck in, because this cab actually did not even have a blower motor, and you swapped the resistor right too.
Yep.
Cool. So we got that swapped over, and we're doing relearn here. Hopefully revision 2 tune will start here pretty soon. I'm going to show you what we're doing on the bench. So this truck needs a set of mirrors pretty bad, and I have a set of mirrors from the old cab. Of course, the old truck was white, so these are white. Just someone's crappy rattle can job, so I'm just going to vinyl wrap these black real quick and throw them on the truck. These are pretty easy to get off if you have one of these pry tools. This one's a Matco one, but you can get these on Amazon or eBay, or Harbor Freight sells them too. Just got to be really gentle, get underneath it, and just slowly pry away, because you can see there's double-sided tape all over, and then if you aren't careful, you will break all these clips, which isn't the end of the world. If you break the clips, you just throw more double-sided tape on it. So I am going to vinyl wrap these. We got another one to tear apart right here, and hopefully by the time we get this done, mirrors on the truck, theft lock will be out. We got truck with mirrors. Now, I was going to wrap these gloss black to match the rest of the truck, and I don't know if I have any gloss black. I think we might have used it all. Use a little Forge carbon wrap, which I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of, but it kind of looks cool. It's different. Tell me in the comments what you think about the Forge carbon. Moving on, we got the truck out of theft lock, and it did try and pop, which means it should start. And Bailey thinks he got the door latches figured out and why the instrument cluster comes on. So what'd you figure out over there?
It could be a bad door switch on the bottom here, because on your truck with the door shut, you get in your truck, you take your key out. In theory, when you open the door, there's a module down here that'll basically tell your BCM that you're no longer in the truck, and I think this might be bad and not sending a signal to the BCM.
Could it not be hooked up too? Is it hooked up?
It looks like all 3 wires on this switch in here are hooked up properly.
Okay.
So
maybe they're not hooked up into the fuse box over there correctly. But anyways, we think we might have it figured out why the instrument cluster stays on. So we are going to open the garage door and start the truck and see if she drives a little bit better with the second revision tune on there. Alrighty guys, here we are in the truck, got it outside, backed out. It is running so much better on revision 2. So she's getting warm. We are currently trying to diagnose on the computer here. It says it's in 2, which it's in neutral, and that's fine. But if we go to drive, it should say 1, and it says 2. So not exactly sure what's going on there, but we're gonna let the trans get a little bit warmer, and then we're gonna check the fluid on it in neutral. Even though some people disagree that it should be park, we'll check it in neutral. Check the level, see if maybe that has anything to do with the fact that it likes to go into 2. Oh, shoot. So in the beginning of this video, we installed that Hobbs switch on the truck. Hopefully that helped you if you were looking for a way to trigger your second fuel pump, or maybe you have another accessory that you want turned on by a certain pressure or boost. Hobbs switch is a great way to do that. So you can see it's just kind of chilling out underneath the piping down there with the red leads going to it. Hopefully you also enjoyed some of the content of the truck driving outside. We got mirrors thrown on it. We got the blower motor swapped out. We changed a resistor, changed a key, changed a BCM. We think we got the door issue figured out. We got revision 2. The transmission's still not exactly shifting the way that we want it to, so I'm gonna have to call my tuner and figure out what's going on there. And that's about everything. We got some trim behind the seats to figure out, and we got some of it installed. We got some of it to figure out, and we're just kind of piecing this thing, doing some of the last finishing touches. Alrighty guys, so this is where we're gonna call it for the end of the video. So like I said, hopefully the Hobbs switch kind of helped you out. We got some more videos coming on this thing. We got some finishing touches to finish up, but until we see you next time, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing. Till next time, peace.